Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of The Cannabis Show. I'm here with Trisha Hall. She's Miss Fizzbubbles and she's live on Periscope as we speak. She is a Periscope celebrity. And on this episode of The Cannabis Show, we're talking all about anxiety and how to cure it using Fizzbubbles. So we're gonna go over some of the products of Fizzbubbles. I'm going to be doing testimonials all throughout this week, but before we do, let's talk about Miss Fizzbubbles and what's in her products. Awesome. So let's get started with that. All right, everybody. So our very first product testimonial is Dream and Water Healing Hands Collection CBD Hemp Soap. So Trisha, can you tell us what is in the soap, the ingredients and so forth?
Okay, so these are all made from what I call cold process. So they're made from scratch with hemp, CBD isolate, cocoa butter, shea butter, castor oil.
No pressure.
I know, right? Castor oil and olive oil.
So they have lavender, grapefruit, lemongrass, and this soap right here does not have CBD in it.
No, it doesn't. That is for people with dry skin, eczema, psoriasis, and people that want to keep their skin looking good, because that's made with full-fatted goat's milk.
Love it.
And so it's going to give you a lotion like lather because it's got a high amount of cocoa butter in it, and yeah, your skin has never felt that good until you bathe that.
Now tell us about this bath bomb.
The Himalayan sea salt, cocoa butter, 50 milligrams CBD bath bomb is made with good for you and to you ingredients right there. You've got cocoa butter, 50 milligrams of CBD isolate, 0 THC with it, and then you have citric acid, sodium bicarbonate, and Himalayan sea salt. That's
Very
it.
Cool.
Plain, simple ingredients.
Love it. So our next product review is Dream and Water Healing Hands Collection. This is Revive Sore Muscles, Pure CBD. So Trisha, tell us more about this.
That is my go-to for pain and inflammation. So it is with arnica infused oils, and then I use menthol crystals and CBD isolate along with good for you and to you. Once again, that is my tagline, as you can tell, good for you and to you, because it should be good for you and at the same time being good to you, that you're getting relief is what's super important to me. So everything is certified organic, fair trade in there, and then I do believe in label transparency, so that's why all the ingredients on the side are listed, and you just find relief with that. Most of the time, depending on the pain, usually it's immediately. That lasts from anywhere from 2 to 5 hours, what my customers are reporting.
That's great. I love having you give all this thorough information. And last but not least, we have here the Relieve Me 100 milligram CBD roller ball.
This spot treatment right there with that is infused with chamomile and lavender, and 100 milligrams of CBD isolate, because I have a lot of customers, whether it's because of where they're at, that they can't have THC in the product, or because they just prefer to have a 0 THC option for pain relief. That's a on-the-go, take anywhere, spot relief, but people that suffer from carpal tunnel.
It's got like little flowers in it.
Yeah, that's the lavender flowers and the chamomile flowers. And so those are all soothing.
Okay.
Chamomile is very soothing. You've heard of chamomile tea, right?
Yes.
It can calm you down. Well, that helps calm inflamed.
And then we have the 20 milligram CBD lip balm.
Yes, with awesome
Peppermint.
It's really soothing for your lips. It's going to give you hydration. And if you have any issues with like cracked lips or any kind of sores, it's going to heal that right away. But if you have healthy skin, well, it's just winning right there, because it raises that.
Last but not least
is the calendula herbal salve, which is a go-to for, that one does not have CBD in it, but it is a go-to with eczema, psoriasis, pains, scrapes, you name it, St. John's wort and calendula are awesome for healing and soothing skin irritations right there. That's like your Heal All Balm.
Yes.
Which goes great if you have injuries, scratches, on top of that with the CBD, so it's kind of extra layer.
Fizzbubbles.com. Get yours today. Thanks, Trisha.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. And you are watching live on WCOBM.TV here in Las Vegas. I'm with the amazing Trisha Hall. Hey, Trisha.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So
tell everybody how fabulous you are, where you're from, what you represent.
Gosh,
Bam.
I am from, originally, Los Angeles, California, relocated last August to beautiful Las Vegas.
Brand new.
What do I represent? I represent Dreamwater Skincare. I represent veteran outreach, United States Marine Corps disabled veteran, and I am pro-cannabis and pro-CBD, here talking and sharing with you today.
Love it. Lovely, isn't she? Thank you so much for everyone joining. If you like what we're talking about, give us a thumbs up. If you saw the little product reviews beforehand, those are all of Trisha's products that she sells on fizzbubbles.com. You can go there, check it out, see what it's all about. Plus, as well, she is the head honcho of Operation RRR, which let everybody know what Operation RRR is.
Operation RRR is Operation Rescue, Restore, Rehabilitate. It is a far-reaching nonprofit dedicated to homeless outreach for veterans, troubled youth, human trafficking, LGBTQ plus community. We have a board of amazing members. So.
Yes, you do, and you're an amazing person.
Well, thank you. So are you. I'm grateful for you.
Absolutely, and thanks to Kenny for introducing us.
Yes.
And he is over at Great Grubbing and thehealingpanda.com. And I also want to give a shout out to Stephanie and Bill from VCM. I absolutely love this magazine, and believe it or not, on page 22 is the article that I promised you guys would come out, which it's called Life is a Gift. It's my mom and I, we wrote this article in memory of my sister, and so we're both pro-cannabis, and we talk a little bit about how cannabis helps cancer patients. So we're going to kind of educate and fill you guys in today on what CBD is all about, how it helps with anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and so forth. But furthermore, before we dive deep into that subject, I have a couple videos that we're going to play to explain and educate what THC versus CBD is. If you don't know, take a look at this video and we'll be right back.
This is not marketing. No! Prepare for learning.
The inside story of cannabidiol. A couple of years ago, a remarkable thing happened when CBD became legal in all 50 of the U.S. states. If you remove CBD from the THC coming from the cannabis plant or the hemp plant, CBD is now legal to use as a nutritional supplement. Since that time, of course, the market has exploded with interest. And this conversation today is about the physiological effects of CBD on the human body. Truly, CBD is not just another nutritional supplement. This short conversation is going to accurately describe the intense scientific research that's going on around the world, but in simple language so that everyone understands of why CBD is so important for human physiology. In order to comprehend the significance of CBD to our health, we first have to ask the simple question, what exactly is our health? Is it just the absence of disease? If you don't have symptoms, you must be healthy? Well, it's actually a far more important question and a deeper question than just that. How does human physiology actually work? How is it designed? In general, every aspect of human physiology is based on the balance between polar opposites, between the yin and the yang. This creates homeostasis. When we look at specific parts of our physiology, like the immune system, the yin and the yang, the opposites would be anti-inflammation and inflammation, the negative and the positive. When those two things are in balance, your immune system is functioning properly. If we're talking about our nervous system, then we're talking about the forces of excitation and the forces of inhibition or relaxation. When we're talking about our endocrine system or our hormone system, we have the forces of breaking down tissue or the catabolic hormones, and we have the anabolic hormones which build up tissue. When those two forces are in balance, we have homeostasis of our endocrine or hormone system. If we're talking about oxidation, we have forces of antioxidation and forces of oxidation. Most people think that you have to just take buckets full of antioxidants all the time as if oxidation is bad. Not true. If you didn't have oxidation and the forces of oxidation in your bodies, you couldn't survive even 1 minute. Those two things have to be in balance. They have to be in homeostasis. All of our physiological systems have to be in this constant state of homeostasis, a dynamic balance. The stronger your physiology's ability to stay in homeostasis is, the more robust your capacity to be in homeostasis is, the healthier you are. Next question. What exactly is dynamic balance? This is kind of difficult to understand, and the best way is a model of a mobile. So here we go. We're looking at a mobile. You've probably played with this when you were a kid. Perhaps you even have some of these in your home right now. We have all of these horizontal elements with little strings hanging down from them, and we have these stars hanging at the bottom. In this particular model, the stars represent signaling molecules. If this is a model of your neurology, the stars that are hanging would be the neurotransmitters. If this was a mobile of your endocrine system, your hormone system, then the hanging stars would be hormones. And if this was your immune system, the hanging stars would be cytokines or lymphokines. These are the signaling molecules that make your immune system work. Now, what makes this a dynamic balance is, as you know, if you change anything in this mobile, it affects everything in this mobile. Let's say, for example, that the star down here at the bottom, that's now big and swollen and red, gets weighted down as if you took a paper clip or some weight and attached it to the mobile hanging in your home. That star is going to pull down and everything in the mobile is going to shift. You can't change any one element without affecting every element in a mobile. What's interesting, however, is that initially the mobile is going to go through these oscillations where things are bouncing up and down and shifting up and down until the oscillations slowly quiet and the mobile finds a new point of homeostasis, a new point of balance. Now everything is shifted in the mobile. The stars are all in different locations now, and many of the sticks are no longer horizontal. They're kind of twisted at one angle or another. But our physiologies are so smart that they will find a new point of balance. During the shifting and the oscillation is when you feel sick, when you have symptoms. But our body, our physiology will compensate, and the new balance will be found, and you can continue to function. Now let me explain how modern medicine with pharmaceutical drugs interacts with this system. Let's say you have another one of these stars, another one of these elements that goes a little bit haywire. This star over here on the left. So you're feeling lousy and you go to the doctor, and the doctor does some kind of test and decides, okay, we need to give you a drug. And so you take a drug, some kind of pharmaceutical drug, to deal with this one element over here on the left that's now gone somewhat haywire. And the drug is designed to clamp down on those symptoms. Notice that the drug is designed to deal with exactly that one star, not the entire system of the mobile, but that one star and the symptoms that it's creating. However, we know that pharmaceutical drugs have many, many unintended side effects. And so, because of the drug you're taking now, another star goes haywire, and you have more symptoms, and now you have to take a drug to counteract the symptoms from the first drug. And so you clamp down on that star as well. And then a third one goes haywire, and so you clamp down on that one as well. And let's say now you seem to be stable, you seem to be functioning, and everything is copacetic. Well, is it really? Everything seems to be stable here because the mobile isn't shifting anymore, but let's take a closer look at your system. This is what's actually happening. You now have all sorts of artificial weights attached to your physiology, to your mobile. you can see that your physiology is under a lot of stress. The weight of all these closer look at your system.
So that is just a little bit of a closer look of the differences between THC, CBD, cannabidiol, and what it's all about. And I just kind of wanted to educate you guys just a little bit before we dive deeper into the topics we're discussing. Now, Trisha, you have been pro-cannabis for how long?
Since 2008.
Okay, and how did you kind of come about using CBD in your skincare products?
Well, I've been with CBD since back in 2008. So for me, knowing the benefits of it topically, because we have the CB1, CB2 receptors. So knowing it, using it, and wanting to make a difference to enhance others' qualities of life with it is how I came to use it.
And you were using it yourself, making it yourself for years and years and years, and you just finally said, you know what? I'm going to do this, and now it's been flourishing. Now you have people working underneath you. Fizzbubbles.com, go check it out. It's more of like a lifestyle page because you learn so much. She has numerous pages and pages of testimonials, and she loves to help others. So just like she's on Periscope right now, she has an entire Periscope family that I was just talking to as we were playing this video. I am just amazed at what women entrepreneurs are doing nowadays, and especially with CBD and cannabis, it's great. So some of the things I want to talk about is how CBD helps anxiety. And I don't know if any of you guys watching deal with anxiety, if you know anybody that deals with anxiety. I deal with anxiety on a daily basis. Sometimes it's not as bad as others, but to put it in words, it's almost like having that gremlin in your head saying, oh, all these bad things are going to happen, or you got to watch out for this, or it's almost like just analyzing too far in the future to where you start building up anxiety of not knowing what to expect. Trisha, do you deal at all with anxiety?
I do. I have anxiety which is compounded with having traumatic brain injury with skull fractures and then PTSD. So I've got those extra layers, so I know that feeling of doom.
And how long have you known that you've had anxiety or dealt with it?
I've dealt with it since 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to play a video that kind of goes more in depth of how CBD can help with anxiety. So take a look at this.
Well, the uses are very broad, and it's great for anxiety. It's anxiolytic at low doses. So that effect is through the limbic system and affecting the amygdala and hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. So it can allow the extinguishing of fear. So it can be used with post-traumatic stress disorder, panic disorders, those types of things. Then it can be used for gut inflammation because it does that on two sides. It affects the microglial cells in the neuroimmune system, and it topically decreases inflammation. So when you're looking at something like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, any of those, it can help decrease that inflammation and increase the healing speed.
So that is a little bit of education I wanted to brush you up on to talk a little bit about how CBD can help with anxiety. I know a lot of people who deal with anxiety on a daily basis, and some people have a hard time leaving their house. I know there's been times where I've had anxiety so bad that I honestly don't want to leave the house, and CBD helps me with that. It helps me relax and especially get a good night's sleep. That's probably the #1 thing that helps me the most, is to relax, wind down, and to just kind of get everything down to a neutral homeostasis level to where I can just be at peace, right?
Right, to have that balance.
Let's talk about balance.
Balance, right? What I understand that not wanting to leave the house because I had agoraphobia for a very long time after my injuries.
Agoraphobia, it's a serious disease.
It is serious. It is almost gut-wrenching to try to leave the house when you're dealing with that panic, that what if, and but balance to me is helping your body with mindfulness, exercise, a non-inflammation diet.
Right, that's so important.
It is.
Yeah.
Because, you know, then that helps affirmations, right?
Right.
Staying on affirmations, being around a positive support group, a professional help, you know, because not always do people understand. And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. Not everybody has anxiety the same way another person would
Exactly.
have anxiety, and everybody is different. Just like CBD receptors work differently with certain people as it would work differently with other people. It's all about balance and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And so our next topic we're going to brush up on is how CBD helps with depression. And I think a lot of people have dealt with depression throughout their lives, some people more than others, but depression is a serious disease. It's debilitating. It's definitely something that if you are someone who deals with depression on a daily basis, go seek help. Go ask for help. Don't try and solve it on your own all the time. I mean, maybe if you're going through a life change, or you broke up with someone, or you're going through the blues, as they call it.
Exactly.
That's something that, okay, you can treat. It's something that you'll get through, and hard times, you'll see the tunnel, you know, the white light is there.
The light is there.
But I'd say for people who are chronically depressed, who have it, they've actually been diagnosed with it. I think that's something where CBD can help tremendously, help people just live a happier life. I see so many people who are depressed on a chronic level, where, you know, a lot of people avoid them, and people who are depressed definitely they should not be alone. They should have that support team. And as hard as it is to be around someone who is depressed, or you yourself is depressed, I definitely don't want to be around someone when I'm down to kind of, you know, I don't want to be the venom. I don't want to be that person that, you know, you're making someone feel worse because of the way you feel. So I always like to, you know, I ask myself, what are the 5 things in the morning that I love to do that's going to kind of refresh my day, start my day off with a positive note? And I always start off with, you know, my pink Himalayan sea salt and my lemon juice in my water. I do my positive affirmations, my stretching, my breathing techniques.
Right.
Do whatever I can to just wake my body up naturally. What do you do in the morning time?
Well, pink Himalayan and lemon juice, right? On affirmations. I'm focused on affirmations, and you know, even if just getting that walk in with Tyson in the morning sets the tone.
She's got a doggy named Tyson.
Yes, and it sets the tone. You know, because we can balance ourselves by doing that and say, okay, it's going to be a great day. I'm going to do this, and even if it's something more than the day before, it's all that matters. You're still making progress.
And that's what Arnold Schwarzenegger, he had a quote, make yourself just 1% better every day. You know, and I want to talk a little bit more about depression when we get back, but let's play this video and show you guys exactly how CBD can help with depression.
Awesome.
Welcome to this video. It's Tom O'Brien here, the mental health herbalist, talking to you today about CBD and its potential as a treatment for depression. And recently the Irish government conducted a scientific review of cannabis for medicinal use, and of course they found that there was insufficient evidence, at least evidence of pharmaceutical grade cannabis to show the results. So it just shows you the link between government, the medical profession, and the big pharma companies. The pharma companies want to control the production of medicinal cannabis. They influence the medical profession, who are very closely linked, not independent, and then the government, who must bow to scientific evidence. But recently I had a subscriber from another country where medicinal cannabis is widely used. It's legal.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Kenworthy and welcome to the short tutorial on your brain on anxiety and stress. It is essential to know how our brain responds to the stimuli which trigger an anxiety response so that you are equipped to deal appropriately with anxiety. Let me highlight the key areas of your brain that are involved, and then I will explain what happens inside the brain. The thalamus is the central hub for sights and sounds. The thalamus breaks down incoming visual cues by size, shape and colour, and auditory cues by volume and dissonance, and then signals the cortex. The cortex then gives raw sights and sounds meaning, enabling you to be conscious of what you are seeing and hearing. And I'll mention here that the prefrontal cortex is vital to turning off the anxiety response once the threat has passed. The amygdala is the emotional core of the brain, whose primary role is to trigger the fear response. Information passing through the amygdala is associated with an emotional significance. The bed nucleus of the stria terminals is particularly interesting when we discuss anxiety. While the amygdala sets off an immediate burst of fear, the BNST perpetuates the fear response, causing longer-term unease typical of anxiety. The locus coeruleus receives signals from the amygdala and initiates the classic anxiety response: rapid heartbeat, increased blood pressure, sweating, and pupil dilation. The hippocampus is your memory center, storing raw information from the senses, along with emotional baggage attached to the data by the amygdala. Now we know these key parts, what happens when we are anxious, stressed, or fearful? Anxiety, stress, and of course fear are triggered primarily through your senses. Sight and sound are first processed by the thalamus, filtering incoming cues and sent directly to the amygdala or to the cortex. Smell and touch go directly to the amygdala, bypassing the thalamus altogether. This is why smells often evoke very powerful memories or feelings. Any cues from your incoming senses that are associated with a threat in the amygdala, whether that threat is real or not, current or not, are immediately processed to trigger the fear response. This is the expressway. It happens before you consciously feel the fear. The hypothalamus and pituitary gland cause the adrenal glands to pump out high levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Too much cortisol short-circuits the cells of the hippocampus, making it difficult to organize the memory of a trauma or a stressful experience. Memories lose context and become fragmented. The body's sympathetic nervous system shifts into overdrive, causing the heart to beat faster, blood pressure to rise, and lungs to hyperventilate. Perspiration increases and the skin's nerve endings tingle, causing goosebumps. Your senses become hyper alert, freezing you momentarily as you drink in every detail. Adrenaline floods to the muscles, preparing you to fight or run away. The brain shifts focus from digestion to focus on the potential dangers, sometimes causing evacuation of the digestive tract through urination, defecation, or vomiting. Heck, if you're about to be eaten as someone else's dinner, why bother digesting your own? Only after the fear response has been activated does the conscious mind kick in. Some sensory information takes a more thoughtful route from the thalamus to the cortex. The cortex decides whether the sensory information warrants a fear response. If the fear is a genuine threat in space and time, the cortex signals the amygdala to continue being on alert. Fear is a good, useful response essential to survival. However, anxiety is a fear of something that cannot be located in space and time. Most often, it is that indefinable something triggered initially by something real that you sense, but that in itself is not threatening, but it is associated with a fearful memory. And the bed nucleus of the stria terminals perpetuate that fear response. Anxiety is a real fear response for the individual feeling anxious, and anxiety can be debilitating for the sufferer. Now that you know how anxiety happens in your brain, we can pay attention to how we can deliberately use our prefrontal cortex to turn off an inappropriate anxiety response once a threat has passed.
So I hope you guys have enjoyed hanging out with us today. We're talking a lot about how CBD can help with things like anxiety, depression, eating disorders, so forth. And so I want to thank Tricia Hall, owner of Fizz Bubbles, coming on down, being my co-host.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I've been working with Trisha the last few weeks. We've been going over kind of like just some lifestyle changes, and I have been having so much fun just hanging out with her.
I have too. I'm grateful for
And
it.
I think that's the one thing as a good coach that I really want to provide, is to have that outlet that women can come to me and they can just get it off their chest, or just come and have fun.
Yeah.
And learn and do all that stuff. So there's certain things like, for me, that I want to make aware for all people to know that how CBD can help them live a better life, a better quality life. And there's so many things that, me being a cannabis advocate, that I saw that my sister went through when she had breast cancer, that helped her in so many ways not take so many pharmaceutical drugs. And it helped relieve her anxiety, it helped her sleep, in so many ways it helped just her life in general be happier. And so I have become an advocate, and that's why I wanted to start this show, was to educate people along the lines of, if you are taking pharmaceutical drugs, if you've ever thought about doing a more natural alternative approach, CBD is definitely the way to go. And one of the things I kind of want to brush up on is eating disorders, because I know a lot of people, including myself, deal with eating disorders on a daily basis. Mine comes back to, I was inflamed all the time, I had stomach aches, I had no idea what was going on with me. I had to keep a food journal for years, writing down every day what I ate to make sure what is causing me to have inflammation and stomach aches. Is it anxiety? Is it me thinking too much, or is it the food? Is it psychological, or is it physical? So with, I don't necessarily want to call it a disorder. I definitely think it's more like putting your body back in order, and we all change. We all have different pH balances. Our body digests food differently. We may be allergic to some things versus some other people aren't. So when it comes to eating disorders, it's definitely something to kind of be more aware of how you can live a better quality of life. Psychologically, those are some things that some person may need professional help, but I wanted to run through exactly how CBD can help with someone who is trying to gain weight, someone who's trying to lose weight, or anything in between. I just wanted to throw out kind of how much CBD benefits lives in so many ways. So take a look at this video.
Few illnesses are hidden or unrecognized more than that of eating disorders. It is estimated that of the roughly 30 million reported cases, only a tenth of that will receive treatment. Carrying with it the highest mortality rate of all mental disorders, it is important to find effective methods of treating this deadly disorder. Current treatment options consist of various pharmaceutical drugs, hospitalization, and psychiatric intervention, all of which carry their own devastating side effects and risk factors. With fewer side effects, many patients have turned to cannabis to treat their eating disorder. Much research is being done on endocannabinoids. These are compounds that are produced naturally by the human body. They interact with cannabinoid receptors to regulate basic functions, including mood, appetite, pain, sleep, and many more. It is believed that the endocannabinoid system is a possible target in the treatment of eating disorders. A 2008 through 2011 double-blind study involving 25 women over 18 years old and who were suffering from anorexia were treated with a drug derived from chemical compounds found in the cannabis plant. They reported that dronabinol therapy was well tolerated. During 4 weeks of exposure, it induced a small but significant weight gain in the absence of severe adverse events. Much more research will be done in the future on the vast potentials of medical cannabis and its potential in assisting with various eating disorders. Visit our website, cannabismedicalnetwork.com, for more information.
And we're back. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're on Facebook Live, give us a thumbs up. Show us that you're liking just hanging out with us today. We're talking about cannabis and CBD and how it helps with eating disorders, anxiety, and depression. And I have here Trisha Hall, the owner of FizzBubbles. Go to fizzbubbles.com, order your CBD skincare products today. And she also has other skincare products that do not have CBD in them.
Me too.
Yes.
I do. That's because I'm bringing the power of plants with the healing properties of CBD. You have a winning combination right there.
Yes. And there's lots of things that when you make your products, you know the properties and what they do, and the beneficial effects that they all have, which to me is amazing because, I mean, I think I'm just putting on lotion. Little did I know, this is like helping me with who knows what.
Right, absolutely.
And you always are putting in new things that you feel like are being helpful for people, changing their lives and so forth. I mean, eczema, is it psoriasis?
Psoriasis, dry skin, you know, so many complications that we have.
Yeah.
You know, aside from that, and bringing, because cortisone creams break your skin barrier down and also your muscle tissue underneath it. So the cortisone creams are just a band-aid. You know, so being able to use herbs like calendula, lavender, St. John's wort, comfrey, a myriad of herbs that actually can do the same healing that cortisone cream can, then you have a winning combination because now you have no side effects and it's healing your body.
That's great. And I know a lot of people, I mean, they'll go even lengths to where they're going to take steroid cream or they're going to take pharmaceutical something over the counter, and I just feel like, you know, there's certain things that we just need to educate ourselves and be more aware of, and that's what's great about social media. Google, YouTube, things are at our fingertips. If you want to find out about something, that's what's great. I just love the fact that you are so on Periscope, you're so on your IG, and there's so many things within social media that is helping change people's lives.
Oh, it is. It is. And, you know, I was raised on a foundation of herbs, you know, with my great-grandma being a sharecropper. So it was not abnormal for me to go into, you know, this when I was making products for myself.
I love that. Your grandmother was a sharecropper and she taught you all the things that you know today.
And that's the power of technology, is you combine old school knowledge with modern technology, and it's powerful because,
so
you know,
cool.
there's so many people, which I'm not, you know, putting them down or anything, but when you look at what you're putting on your body, it affects everything. You know?
Well, our skin is our biggest organ.
Biggest organ.
I think a lot of people take it for granted what they could be doing to benefit their lives by simply putting something on their skin, whether it's sunblock or lotion or just healing properties in general that goes deep down in the cells.
Absolutely, and that's where CBD comes into play because, like we were talking about, we have these CB1 and CB2 receptors, so it's going to go and attach to those receptors instead of going into the bloodstream. It's going to go and work with those since we're covered with endocannabinoids through our whole system.
That's what we're saying, is that we have endocannabinoids in our system. We actually produce them. And so people who have receptors for this, it's different with everybody.
It is, because with CBD, it's basically, I look at it this way, for me. It is a reset for my body.
Okay.
So instead of taking Xanax to cope with anxiety, using CBD helps my body by healing it and resetting it. And then combined with, you know, the other things we were talking about.
And it's helped with anxiety, overcoming agoraphobia, stuff like that.
Chronic pain, because, you know, I'm a walking hot mess. You know, I can't get.
She's so hot.
I'm so hot. I'm a hot mess everywhere. No, you know, I can't get through airport security without, you know, clearance because it, you know, the plate in my head. So that.
She's got a metal plate in her head, which I think is so hot. I mean, and then she goes through these security detectors, and they're like, "Can you stand aside?" They're giving her that look, like you got some in your body.
Yeah, let's take it all out and wipe you down and see if you for bombs.
Cavity search.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, wait, you know, can't have this. So, you know, and then between that and impingements and, you know, degenerated discs and everything else. So that chronic pain,
Right.
and being able to move. You
Right.
know? But that's why I always speak about the balance. A lot of people think if I take this, which you see I carry it everywhere, you know, it's for that. I have to help my body though.
Well, and the good thing you said was this is not a quick fix. And I see a lot of people taking this and they'll be like, I don't feel anything.
Right.
When is it going to turn into something? It's like you need to slow your roll first off.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, ever since like the internet came out, everyone wants that instant gratification. I want it to work now, right now. That
Right.
whole, like, you need to wait, you need to slow down, and also listen to your body.
Right.
I think so many people think, oh, there's a quick fix for this, or I drink this, or I'll just take that, or wrap yourself in this, turn that light on, I'll be scaled, anything. And it's like, do your research and take your time to listen to your body, and then actually think about some things that you could take out that maybe may be good for you. I mean, I think a lot of people overindulge like sugar.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know that's completely off the topic of CBD, but there's certain things that I feel like people are overindulging and they're wanting that quick fix. They're not waiting. Maybe just take it back a step or two and really evaluate certain things
Right.
and think about how they could have a different perception on how life could be differently without doing the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Oh, absolutely, because you know that's the definition of insanity, right?
That's what I was going to say.
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. But
Right.
we are a society that we are so conditioned that if I take this pill, it's going to, you know, help. But even if you're given a prescription medication, the doctors say, you know, it might take so long before, and then let's
Right.
evaluate and up your dose,
Right.
whatever, right? And we forget about that because we want, like you said, that quick fix. And what it is a lot of times that people forget about is when I was taking Roxycodone, I was 40 milligrams 6 times a day, whatever, 240 a month, yeah. Your body stops producing that, you know, to the pain signals.
Right.
So it has to learn again with, you know,
And then that's
CBD.
why if you get off of it, the pain receptors come back and are like, wee!
Well, yeah, and it's off the chain.
And that's why people become addicted.
Absolutely.
I see at the pharmacy counter a lot of people have anxiety. Like if they don't get their prescription refilled, you can just see them starting to like tense up, like you don't understand. I have to have my drugs. And it's like, I almost feel bad for them because I feel like a lot of the times it's that addiction cycle, that doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, that to me, I sit back and think, have you ever thought about weaning yourself off and trying something different that
Right.
might be a little healthier for you?
Right, and that's why I'm passionate about educating and showing that it is possible.
Yeah.
You know, and that they can do it, and knowing what, even with CBD, you know, like they'll tell you, look, make sure it's lab tested. Make sure that they keep
Yes.
batch records.
Yes.
Ask them for a certificate of analysis. You
Right.
know, ask them how they store it. What is the shelf life? You know, for me, like when you're talking about they bring out new products, absolutely. I have a ton of products that have not hit the shelves because I test for shelf stability. I make sure that it's going to ship okay, that it's not going to grow mold. You know,
Right,
so all these
right.
things for good manufacturing practice is the same thing when we're doing this with CBD because you know it's flooded right now.
It's a huge market.
It's
and
a huge market.
everywhere, and you could just like order anything online that you want. But again, like you said, like who's producing it, and the batch ID label, and does it expire? And I mean, there's so many things that people need to ask. So what would you give some advice to if anyone is interested in buying CBD for curing anxiety or depression or anything? What would be your 5 top tips if they had no idea what to look for?
Okay, so you're talking about if they're looking online, what to look for
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
company. Okay, if you're searching for CBD, like I said, those basic things. Ask if it's lab tested. If it's CBD isolate, lab tested. If it's CBD full spectrum or 0.3,
Okay.
you know, make sure
I don't know.
That's with full spectrums when they still have 0.3 of THC in there. And so you have a lot of concern with some people can't have THC because it can make anxiety worse, right?
Yes. That's another thing I wanted to talk about, was that sometimes by taking too much cannabis can increase your anxiety, or actually can increase your depression.
Absolutely.
And that's something that is a huge topic that I want to talk about, because of the fact that this is a drug and you have to be very aware, and you need to know the facts, because if you try something and you don't know anything about it, you could end up in the hospital.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so that's what, I've had customers call me and say, I can't have THC because, the last tincture that I purchased, they didn't put on there that it had 0.3, and their medical condition, it makes them beyond anxious. And so that even that small amount, so know what you're purchasing.
Okay, so know what you're purchasing.
Yes. You can ask for
do your homework.
Do your homework. Keep a journal.
That is a huge one. You're like a pain journal.
A pain journal, yes, and document. If you start out,
or if it's not pain, anxiety, whatever, have a journal where you write it down. That's what I did when I had an eating disorder. I was trying to figure out what gave me inflammation, and it came down to that it was grain, it was gluten, it was bread, it was all the processed stuff that I kind of had to reevaluate and find a different, healthier approach.
Absolutely, because that's what I tell all of my customers, when they call it, said change one thing at a time. So, but
change one thing at a time.
Have reasonable expectations that start small, because too much CBD, you can't OD on CBD.
Yeah.
But the results are the same. Just like too little CBD, too much CBD, you're going to get no results. So you want to find your sweet spot.
So is it the same with too much CBD is the same as too much cannabis? No, they're both different?
No, totally different, because you can be too medicated with cannabis.
I mean, you've seen the TID hey.
Yeah. You can be too medicated.
And that can give you anxiety. That can give you depression. That can disturb your sleep patterns.
It is.
It'll probably give you the munchies. Cause you to gain weight.
Absolutely. Or somebody, for me, PTSD.
Makes it worse?
Oh, it off the Richter scale, because I'm hypervigilant anyway, so that cortisol and that always looking for a threat.
Oh, then I need to come down and be calmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't be tense around you.
No, I can handle that. But it's true, so that's why I say keep a journal. And when you get up in the morning, start your day, everybody's body is different. So you want to start.
Very true.
Start low, log that for at least three days or so, and see how you're feeling.
And a lot of people are like, okay, there's CBD in tinctures, in water, in lotion, in bath bombs, in food. What do I choose? Where do I go? How do I start?
Right. Well, for me, CBD delivery and all those vaping, tincture, lotions.
Where do they? Where should one person begin if they've never done it before? I'd say go to fizzbubbles.com. And this right here, like a little CBD spray or the roll-on.
Yeah, the spot relief.
I love that.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah, that definitely works miracles for achy joints and pains. But start small.
Yeah, start small. If you have to deal with one thing at a time.
One thing at a time.
Whether it's chronic pain, anxiety, you want to manage to get that anxiety under control, and then work on the next, of the chronic pain, because our mind and body are connected. So if you're overly anxious, it exasperates your pain, or if you're in chronic pain, it affects you emotionally too.
And not to forget that if you're trying to come off a pharmaceutical drug, the side effects.
Yes. CBD.
And then try and help the side effects by taking a little CBD. You don't want to go overboard, but I definitely think be easy on yourself. Don't just jump on a gun and say, okay, I'm cured, I'm done, this is great. This is, give yourself a month at least to wean yourself off. But I would say cognitive therapy. I've gone to Barnes & Noble and I've gotten tons of books on cognitive therapy, workbooks, and I tell you, I love them. I love being able to educate myself, try and work through a problem, but never try and do it alone. Whether it's talking to someone, going on YouTube, dialing in your journal, or going and seeking professional help. Never give up, never settle,
No, never.
And definitely don't do the same thing every single day. Like, open your mind, but don't make it so open your brain falls out. Try new things, think outside the box.
Right.
And there's so many solutions out there. So just don't think that one little pill is going to fix everything.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And that's, quality of life looks different for everybody at different stages of their life. There was a point when quality of life for me was completing a full sentence and being able to lift, you know, something with my hand. So we can't gauge our progress off of somebody else.
Never compare yourself to anyone else.
You can't.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm, you know.
We're all guilty of that. I'm guilty of that.
And that's why I stress to people, you know, what does that look like? Even if that's getting up, and like I said, if that day is only being able to walk, you know, across the room and back, hey, winning, you made progress.
Exactly. Like for me, I was like, okay, if I'm able to drive somewhere brand new and I don't know where it's at and I have anxiety and I got to get there on time and I get there, I'm so in a win-win.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's just tiny little things. I know everybody's different. To some people it could be running for governor, and to the other person it could be going to the supermarket and just buying your groceries.
Right.
There's all sorts of different things that I think we all look at like obstacles, and depending on how much of our fear we can actually factor through it. That's another thing that I feel CBD can help with, but it's definitely not the answer to every problem.
It's not.
So also stress. That's another thing on the next show, the next cannabis show. We're going to talk about how CBD helps with stress.
Yes.
I definitely think stress is a killer. It's probably the #1 health factor when it comes to situations around money, family, relationships. Stress is a big factor that I feel like we all have in our lives.
Right, it is, and managing that, because
And,
it affects.
yep.
Stress is a killer, and you know it. You have to get that all under control, you know. But my biggest thing is give yourself grace.
Yep.
Give yourself grace to
That's a
be
good
able to
thing.
go through. You know, we give so many other people, you know, grace. We need to give ourselves grace to heal.
Yep. I was almost thinking, like, what if I'm the one that's causing me stress in my life? Well, I hate to say it, but we are our worst enemies.
We are.
So I kind of have to think back and be like, okay, how much stress am I really causing for myself? If I am causing stress for myself, what are some things? I obviously can't, like, take a vacation from myself, you know, like I'm with myself no matter what.
Right. Yeah,
but I'm like, what are some things in my life that are over stressing me out, or what people am I around that is totally just messing with my psyche? Get away from any negative people. Be with the most supportive people you can find. What are some activities that makes you feel alive? It makes you feel like a kid again.
Absolutely.
On the IG story this morning, I was jumping on my mini trampoline. I was like, have fun in life. Have a great day. Yay! And I was
Yay.
like, whatever you can do to put a smile on your face, do it.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
entertain the hell out of myself.
Life is
so,
way
yeah.
too short.
It is.
And I think it's when shit hits the fan that we really realize how lucky we truly are, and how you don't need to sweat the small stuff, because it's really just small stuff. Hi everyone on Periscope. We're on Trisha's Periscope here in the corner.
Talking about it does help.
And
Many
if you
people have
guys
the
like what
same.
we're talking
Absolutely.
about, please give a thumbs up, give a likes. If there's
guys
anything
rock.
you guys are interested in hearing about on the next cannabis show, let us
I
know.
love you too.
But hi everybody.
Sorry. Oh,
Hi
I love you
everybody.
too. Oh,
Yeah, we're all over the place.
and yeah.
She meant go and follow her on
Oh,
Periscope.
awesome. I'll go watch that.
Trish
I
is
did.
all about Periscope.
I was
You are a
telling them that-
Periscopeaholic. Whoop, squirrel.
Squirrel. That's why Tora, that's in here, she calls me Alice, like Alice that goes down the rabbit hole.
Allison, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
That's definitely a Trish.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Well, anywho, everybody, I hope you have enjoyed this episode of The Cannabis Show and talking about how CBD can help with depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and more. So if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to follow Trish.
Please do. And if I don't know the answer, I will find out.
And you need to go and become a Periscope fan of hers. She has a huge Periscope following, like over 4 million views on her Periscope account. What's your Periscope name?
Fizz Bubbles.
Fizz
everywhere.
Bubbles.
I'm Fizz Bubbles everywhere. IG, I'm Fizz Bubbles Soap.
Cool.
So I am Fizz. I put the fizz in the bubble.
I have to say, I like your hair. Did you have a hairstyler? Just totally off subject. I was like, I like your highlights.
But they look better now?
I like them.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Anywho, go to The Cannabis Show on IG if you guys have any more questions, and feel free to stop by anytime. What's so funny?
Nothing, you with the hair.
I
anyway.
like your hair. I like the hair. I know, I was all totally off subject, but...
You called me a squirrel.
I called her a squirrel.
She said Alice Jr. Squirrel. There you go.
Yeah. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on The Cannabis Show.
Thank you so much.
I'm Michelle Davis, Tricia Hall, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Bye.